starter back in the league.
Where were you? Where'd you going to catch it, right?
Anything can still happen in this season.
I tried to get a milk carton, but I don't have any milk in my house. So now I gotta go around the neighborhood for you. Where were you?
That was disgusting. Jasper, come on.
We're starting now.
Come on, Jasper. You ready?
Come on.
Come on, Jasper.
All right, this is all in the
Sit.
video. Hey, from him coming up.
Sit.
The show.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the In the Huddle podcast. One of your hosts, Sam Rotundo. What's your name?
Dom Gold.
Fine, and welcome back. We're here to talk about Week 13 of the NFL. Let's roll the intro.
You're listening to In the Huddle with Sam Gold and Chris Rotundo.
All right, Dom, or whatever. What did you say your name was?
Dom Gold. I don't know. I'm
Gold.
trying to
All
think.
right,
Because we got Dom behind us today.
All right, Dom, we're going to talk about the Chiefs-Packers game first.
What a game, man. Packers, we were talking just, I think, last...
You talk about the Packers because I have pretty much everything to say about the Chiefs.
I'm interested in it. The Packers they're one of the teams that they were just out of the playoffs, but
Wait, I should say Packers 27, Chiefs 19, by the way.
Packers got the win. Christian Watson came alive. Questionable referee calling on both sides, but that's the way the game is. People are going to complain. And it did make for a very interesting end. Isaiah Pacheco, fantasy reasons, he ended up getting disqualified towards the end when every point counts. But Packers are firmly in the hunt for the playoffs in the NFC after what is sort of like an opposite season to what I like to compare to the Chargers. Chargers, they have bad start. They go through a phase when it's kind of good, and then it dips down, as Sam alluded to what their logo looks like. And the Packers, good start. They dipped down, and then they came back to life here with this young Jordan Love team. And I think they're a game out of the wild card, out of the 7th seed now, something like that. But
I think they passed the Vikings. They're in now.
So
them and the Rams are in right now.
The Rams are such a weird team that
we'll get to the Rams.
That's just a whole other scenario. Are they good? Are they bad? They're somehow 6-6. But the Packers, they have a clear path to make the playoffs as long as they play good football, the football that they've been playing. And it's a season that you were high on them. You said 10-6 this year. You had them winning the division. Doesn't look like they're going to win the division, but a playoff push is very likely, and one that I can really see happening. And it wasn't on my personal bingo card for the season, but it's looking more and more likely with every week. More storylines are going to unfold, and this Packers team is one that I'm probably most interested in right now just because Jordan Love, what do we expect coming into the year? Christian Watson, what do we expect from him? Dobbs, they got a lot of rookie offensive players in Musgrave, Jaden Reed.
The youngest, not only team in the NFL, but the youngest offense in the NFL, under 25 years old, Chris. First of all, let's pull up his picture. Shout out Henry Pearson. We went to high school together, Chris. He went to my middle school. He's from my hometown. I used to do throwing with him. I used to play football with him. And I had absolutely no idea up until this offseason that he was in the NFL. I saw somewhere on Instagram that he became an undrafted free agent.
If you could see that.
For the Green Bay Packers. There he is. Shout out. He played his first start. He got called up from the practice squad. He's a fullback. He got his first start last night. And funny enough.
First penalty.
He had a penalty on the last kickoff. But, he played well overall. I saw him make some good blocks. But it was crazy to see, his face pop up, to hear Mike Tirico say his name. So, even though there's a lot of negatives coming out of this game for me because of the Chiefs, shout out Henry Pearson, man. I mean, that's crazy. Just to see someone in the NFL that is wild, even if it's a full. But it doesn't matter. You're in the NFL. That's crazy.
Living the dream.
But Chris, just quickly, the Packers. Yeah, they played way better than us last night. Shout out Jordan Love. He's been looking more and more like Aaron Rodgers as the weeks go on. They had identical stats going into this, both 5 and 6, both 2,599 passing yards, both 21 total touchdowns in their first season. And Jordan Love is finally coming into his own. So maybe the Packers will go on and make a playoff run. And, weeks down the line, I won't feel as bad that we lost them. Kind of like how we lost to the Broncos. I felt way shittier in the moment, and then we realized, the Broncos actually aren't a bad team, so I don't feel as bad about the loss, but Obviously, it's the day after, so I feel bad about the loss. Where do I even start? I mean, with the penalties, I've been saying this all season. I'm never going to be that guy to blame it on penalties. Here's the thing. Here's what I said about the Jets when we beat the Jets. If it takes a penalty in your favor to win the game, you were not meant to win the game. If you're hoping to get a call or you're complaining about a non-call or whatever it is, then you just weren't good enough to win the game in the first place. Not to mention, I'm going to call out the Chiefs fans too. Don't be hypocrites. Don't be defending like I've been this entire time and then go ahead and complain about that non-DP. Of course it was a bad call. But also, the hit on Mahomes, every call on the final drive of that game was incorrect.
It seemed like they make one bad call, they had to make it up on the other side.
It's like two wrongs make a right. No, it doesn't. And this is what I've been saying all season. It's not, the refs are biased against the Chiefs. The refs are biased against the Packers. No, the refs have just been terrible this year, and they need to be held accountable for the horrific calls. I don't know how, at this point, we don't just have like some AI system that can make the correct call every time, like tennis. You know, in tennis, when the ball hits the line, and immediately they have the picture showing if it was in or out. We need something like that instead of these stupid refs. Sure, they could do the on-field stuff, blow the whistle, all that stuff. But when it comes to a controversial play like that, I just don't understand how it's up to the refs, and they just don't see it. So it's honestly, I'm not going to complain about that DPI. There were multiple bad calls on both sides. We weren't meant to win the game regardless. So that's it with the refs. The Chiefs, where do I start? I mean, the offense, Chris, you would think the Chiefs have hit puberty like 50 times this season with the amount of balls being dropped. But we actually didn't drop any balls last night. So that wasn't our main issue.
Clip that.
Honestly, I have a full page of notes. I don't even know where to start. I mean, you want to talk about wide receivers? Yeah, we didn't drop any balls. But where was Sky Moore going on that Mahomes pick? Everyone's going to say, there's another one, terrible Mahomes pick. No, that was complete miscommunication. I said this for weeks now. Get him off the fucking team. What is going on with Sky Moore? Like, why is he running that route? It's not like even if he ran the correct route, it's a fade route, a 50-50 ball. You think Sky Moore is going up for that? When has he ever proved that? So that was just a wash. MVS, of course, missing that wide open touchdown again. He didn't drop it this time, but he just completely turned himself around for no reason. Completely missed that. Justin Watson, you've been great all season. You've made at least one great play per game. Where were you? I mean, I have a stapler, and I have your picture because I'm going to staple your pictures to the wall because you're missing. You were missing. I'm going to go around town and staple your poster to the freaking trees.
Missing person.
I tried to get a milk carton, but I don't have any milk in my house. So now I got to go around the neighborhood for you. Where were you? We needed you. You were gone. What else with this fucking game? We're 8-4. We've lost a third of our games. Listen, Chris, me complaining about the Chiefs is like a guy complaining to a kid starving in a third world country about how he drinks too much water and he's peeing all the time. And he's annoyed by that. So I shouldn't even be complaining. Because I'm spoiled. But I can't help it. We're wasting a year of Mahomes. We're wasting a year of this talent right now. And I'm sitting here complaining about a fucking Chiefs-Packers game. At least we won the Super Bowl last year. At least we won the Super Bowl. We are two-time champs. We're not winning the Super Bowl this year. I don't care what anyone says. Hey, Chris.
I don't even know
I'm giving
where to
you
go from here.
A chance right now to stray away from your argument that you had 2 weeks ago with the Chiefs-Eagles game. Enough with the Sam, you're overreacting. It's a different team. Can you admit that? It's December 4th. We're not getting our shit together. This is who we are.
No, yeah, this offense is awful. Matt Nagy needs He needs to go. He's not a good offensive coordinator. Get him as far away as you can. This is just a Pittsburgh Steelers offense with a better quarterback. That's what we're watching right now.
Where did the poster go? Where's the poster?
I have no idea. It's painful because at this point, I still had faith because you still have the best quarterback in the league.
Where were you? Look, here's the throw. You're gonna catch it. Ready? Boom.
MVS dropped that.
That's why they didn't call the pass interference. It was uncatchable regardless. Because they knew MVS was never going to catch that. Sorry.
guys, I do care about the Chiefs more than fantasy. Remember when I freaked out about Bijan? This is way worse.
No, but yeah.
I'm gonna go staple his picture around the neighborhood after this.
Al,
We needed you, man.
Al, grab the paper.
Oh, Jasper, I'm sorry. Look, Justin Watson, you've been fine.
Oh, yeah. But no, yeah, this offense is.
I'm sick of. I'm so spoiled. I understand that, but when you have Patrick Mahomes, Chris, you want
expect
to
to
take
put up
advantage
30
of
a
every
night.
year you have with him. And honestly, I'm just not having fun watching the Chiefs this year. I really am not.
Well, now you know how I
I
feel.
know
about
we're
you.
8-4. I know we're the 4th seed. I know we're still going to win the division. I know we're probably going to end up 12-5. But we're not going to go to the Super Bowl this year. It's already rigged for Ravens-Niners. I mean, we saw the Super Bowl logo colors, right? Purple and red.
I
I mean, we all know it's going to be Ravens-Niners. It was red and green last year. It was Chiefs-Eagles. And then 2 years ago, it was orange and purple, or blue.
wonder what it's gonna be next year. Then that way we've got to put a little predictions in.
It's going to be, I don't know. I'm too tired for this.
What's it gonna, anyway?
That's it. I've wasted my energy for the rest of the show. I've
what-
wasted it. I've wasted
Do you want a pillow? So you can go to sleep. But this offense.
I need Vin Blau. Is Henry? Oh, I thought Henry Pearson was.
No, I had to switch it to this.
I'm trying to look. I mean,
What's do you have the top of your head how many points per game the Chiefs offense is averaging?
probably 20, 21.
They're just underperforming every week. When you have Patrick Mahomes,
What a year to draft Mahomes in fantasy, by the way.
you
The 1 year
expect
he's
to
not
put
been that great.
you expect to put up 30 points a game. You would assume when you have the best quarterback in the league right now. But this all comes back to losing Bieniemy. I mean, you lose a top offensive coordinator. He goes over to Washington, and it's really hard to replace a guy like that. Yes, you have Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, the play calling's not going to be the same. You lose Juju. I know it's Juju, but still, you lose your top receiver at the point. 2 key guys for your offensive success last year. Now, both of those guys are gone. Juju's in the struggling Patriots, and
We scored
the
19
enemy
points.
is making the Washington offense look like a Chiefs offense from the past, but just a worse quarterback. That's basically what we're witnessing here. So it's tough sailing for the Chiefs right now.
You
But
should have signed Lamar Jackson as running back. I don't know.
Listen, I know they're all going to want to count out, but you're not out until you're eliminated. You're going to make the playoffs. Anything can still happen in this season. I know getting the 1 seed now seems like a long shot, but there's plenty of weeks left. Plenty of things can go your way. So you're down, but you're not
I'm
out.
saying this all season, man.
But mathematically, you still can get the 1 seed.
At some point, when you get to the playoffs, teams play how they are, how they've been all season. Like, the Dolphins are probably going to give up a shit ton of points because their defense is not that great. The Chiefs are going to play like this. The Ravens are going to hope that there's no injuries. Like, it's usually the story of the team's seasons come to fruition in the playoffs. And there's absolutely no shot at this point. I could say that the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl.
No matter who you guys
shot.
If you guys struggle to put up over 20 in a playoff game, there's no way you guys win.
Chris,
that game.
you guys should be excited at the playoffs if we play each other in the playoffs.
I'm not
honestly.
It's gonna that game.
Your defense against our offense, forget about it. It's going to be like 13-10. All you need is like a pick 6 and you might win it.
That would be such a bad game.
It might have. We're the 4th seed right now, and you guys are the 5th seed.
Yeah, with Mitchell Trubisky slated
By the
to
way,
start
Chris,
for the next 2 to 4 weeks.
I swear to God, if you pick the Chiefs to win that game again, like you did 2 years ago, there's nothing that pissed me more off than you picking the Chiefs when it was Chiefs-Steelers.
And who won?
You're more worried about being right than picking your team in the one chance we might ever get for our 2 rival teams to play against each other in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that pisses me off. You're not a true football fan if you do that.
Well, I'm being realistic. I'm not going to be.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I'm not going to be biased.
If the Chiefs are underdogs by 20 points, I'm picking the Chiefs in the playoffs.
I would rather be realistic than be biased.
What?
Yes.
You're a Steelers fan.
Yeah, I understand.
Not a true Steelers fan.
How?
No. I will never understand that argument.
All right. Well, I don't.
We're on a podcast. How are you not picking the Steelers?
Yeah, you're on a podcast,
That's
but I
crazy.
don't want to be biased.
That's wild.
I would not want to be.
You're
biased.
more worried about being wrong.
Obviously.
That's wild.
How is that wild?
That's wild to me.
So wanting to be unbiased on a sports platform is wild to you. That doesn't make any sense.
How are you not picking your favorite team?
Because
the
they were
playoffs?
big time underdogs. Offense,
And then you didn't even care when they lost.
Offense
Okay, I'm not
was,
gonna get into
offense
this.
was terrible, and I'm being called not a true fan for not wanting to pick a team that I know is going to lose. I understand. I'm a fan. Yes. Do I want them to win?
We had a moment on this podcast that might never come again.
Do
where
I
our
think
two teams face off in the playoffs?
Do I think that they were going to win?
You didn't
No.
pick the Steelers for the hell of it so we can go against each other.
Obviously, I wanted them to win, and we did go against each other.
So then just pick them. Who gives a fuck what our record is?
It doesn't matter.
Don't you agree? If the Vikings played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Al, and you were in Chris's spot, and the Chiefs were favored by 30 points, you're picking the Vikings. Come on. How do you not pick your favorite team? It's the last game of the season, potentially.
I pride myself on not being a biased fan towards whatever team I root for.
I don't even consider that biased, to be honest. I really don't.
I like to have an unbiased opinion with every team because I have a realistic look at it. If this team is better than, if Team Y is better than Team X, and I'm a fan of Team X.
You're going against me. How do you not want to build the hype of me going against you?
There was no hype in that game. The Steelers' offense was an atrocity, and the Chiefs were the best team in the league.
It's fine. I don't feel like arguing. It's fine.
This happened a couple years ago now, and
I know. I just feel like it's going to happen again, and you're going to pick the Chiefs, and that's going to really piss me off.
I have no idea.
Promise me you pick the Steelers this time.
I'm not promising anything.
Why not? Look, you made the computer turn off.
I hate when that happens. This HDMI thing is awful. There we go.
Chris, you have to promise me you pick the Steelers.
I'm not promising anything. I have an unbiased outlook, and I am gonna live and die by that. I will never let my personal bias take over. I'm gonna give a realistic output on non-bias, and I'm gonna look at the facts and not let my feelings take over on a sports team.
What?
Yeah, I'm not gonna let my
So
personal.
you're not a fan then. You're not gonna let feelings of your sports. I'm not arguing this.
No,
everyone watching knows I'm right.
If I'm gonna sit here,
you're not gonna let your feelings and emotions over your favorite sports team in a playoff game go past what your logical.
If I'm gonna sit here and
you might as well just be a non-biased, just random reporter.
If I'm gonna sit here and tell people how I feel about something, I'm not gonna let my personal emotions dictate what I'm going to say. I'm going to look at the facts, say this team is better than that team. They are probably going to win.
In any other scenario, but the Steelers in the playoffs. You got to pick your team in the playoffs. Especially if they're going against me.
Would I want them to win? Yes, but there's a difference between want and do I think. That's what it all comes down to here.
Sometimes you got to pick want.
You can sit on here and ridicule me for that all you want. But that's how I feel, and I will never go away from trying to be as unbiased as possible.
Okay, all right, fine.
You know, I'm that way in every single sport I watch.
You know what it is? I watch too much Nick Wright. That's what it is.
When it comes to just
shout out First Things First.
Again, this thing. Oh my lord. When it comes to any sport, basketball, football, baseball, I will never let my personal bias get in the way of anything. And I am fine if someone wants to sit here and say, "Oh, you're not a fan of this because you said that's going to happen, but you're a fan of them." I don't care. I would much rather not be biased than say something I don't believe is true.
Except when it comes to the Knicks. Okay, let's move on.
Well, the Knicks
are
the 5th seed in the East right now.
I actually don't know if I have anything else to say about this game now. I know. We've wasted too much time now. Well, speaking of, do you want to talk about the Steelers?
What is there to talk about?
I picked the Cardinals.
The offense an atrocity. Kenny Pickett gets hurt. They're probably going to win 9 games, maybe 10 if we're lucky. We're stuck watching Mitch Trubisky for the next 2 to 4 weeks. Kenny Pickett gets hurt. Deontay Johnson's here celebrating when you're down to arguably the worst team in the league by multiple scores. It's a disaster there right now. I know we fired Matt Canada. I know there's still a good shot they make the playoffs. But with the record and all, how can you be excited about what you're seeing right now? It's the same thing when Matt Canada got fired compared to when Matt Canada was there. The offense is still struggling. I think that, I know Sam alluded to this a couple weeks ago, Kenny Pickett is not the guy, but the Steelers are going to keep him on for next year. They're going to do that three-year rule. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's there for a 4th year because personally, I wouldn't want the Steelers to make a hasty decision and move on from him too quick when there's no good quarterbacks out there in the draft, free agency, whatever it might be. I don't see the Steelers signing a quarterback in free agency. It's going to be through the draft, but who knows what can happen in this new day and age. That being said,
if he continues to play like not great this season and then he has his best season next year, but it's still like, it's like Daniel Jones, do you want to pay him or do you think you should move on? If it's like a Daniel Jones situation where yes, it is his best season next year, but he's like, but you kind of know it's like, okay, he's still not like going to be elite.
The 3rd year is when all players seem to make that huge jump.
It's really tough. I think you need to see him become like a top 10 guy, top 12 guy.
It would be tough, but
Because if he's not, then I would hate to be stuck in that situation.
In the case of compared to like how you said a Daniel Jones year, that was in the 4th year. Kenny was in the 3rd year. It's a tough situation. Do I think he's going to take a jump to be a top 10? No, I think he'll have a stretch when he'll look like a top 10 guy, but I don't know. The whole offense just needs a whole rebrand, offensive line, wide receivers. I think it's time to get Deontay out of there. His attitude.
Got another touchdown yesterday, didn't
Yeah, and he celebrated down over 2 possessions. And now the thing is, the new excuse is going to be, Mitchell Trubisky's quarterback, not Kenny Pickett. And I understand. If it's not Matt Canada, who do you blame? You don't want to blame Kenny Pickett right now because this is the 2nd game. And now it's going to be Mitchell Trubisky's quarterback. So we're not going to have a clear thing. But at the end of the day, it's just the entire offense. And that's what it comes down to because this team, it's hard to get mad at a team like Sam does with the Chiefs when week after week, time and time again.
What do you mean? I don't get mad. What?
It's the same story time and time again with this team from week 1 to the beginning, first week of the season to the end of the season. So I have to just keep my emotions in check. And this game was such a game that they would easily have lost because they always play down to their competition. And that's why I'll say it now, I'll say it again. They're going to probably win 10-6 to the Patriots next week because there's no way they play down the 2 teams back to back. It's not going to be a good game. Thursday night, we got spoiled last week. No punts, everything.
Yeah, that was the only good Thursday night game.
Insane. So this is going to be a snooze fest, a game that, as a fan, I'm dreading to watch because, 1, I don't want to watch the Patriots, and 2, the Steelers' offense behind Mitchell Trubisky, you could probably chalk it up for at least 2 interceptions with him and a defensive touchdown because the offense won't be able to do anything.
I think it's time to bring in Rudolph.
Oh, God, no.
The Christmas time's coming up. Bring a little Rudolph. He's got a red nose because... Never mind. Do you get the joke? Because he got slammed in the head with a helmet.
Okay, all right. Yeah, but overall, Steelers, they're going to win. They'll win their 9 to 10 games, squeeze into the playoffs, but I
was shocked to see Mason Rudolph on the bench. I saw him and I'm like, wait, he's still on the Steelers?
Sadly, he's still there.
That's crazy. I guess he's a good locker room guy, maybe. You need to bring back Duck Hodges.
I wish he retired.
To go, what was it, like duck hunting?
Yeah, he's a professional duck hunter now.
I can't blame him. Makes good money. Just kidding. I don't know what goes on.
What a weird season that was, Mason Rudolph.
What was that, 2019?
Yeah.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
That was such a weird season. That was such a weird season.
All right, Chris. Well, speaking of Thursday night, let's talk about the Cowboys. We don't have to talk about the game. Everyone knows it was a great shootout. It was a close one. Lots of points, no punts.
MVP talk?
But, yeah, I feel like, look, we've both been victim of this. We talk shit about the Cowboys. Everyone does. But let's step aside. Like you just said, let's be unbiased.
They beat a team that was over 500.
Look, let's be unbiased. Well, now they're not 500, but yes.
Well, now they are, but going
I know. I think we got to just straight up say, especially we'll get to the Eagles game later with the Eagles losing. Is Dak Prescott the MVP?
Yes.
That is kind of wild.
No.
I mean, look, I think it's Tyreek Hill, but at this point, I'm not going to argue with you. I have to just surrender the fact that it's going to be a quarterback. Unless Dak has a few more bad games, I feel like it still could be Tyreek. But for the sake of this conversation, it has to be him as the front runner right now, right? Mm-hmm. It's got to be Dak.
It's Dak Prescott. He's leading the MVP. Jalen Hurts. They didn't just lose to the 49ers last week. They got absolutely stomped on. We'll get to that game later. When the Cowboys play the Eagles again next, when it comes down to it, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, I think you can lock Dak Prescott in for MVP. But if the Eagles beat the Cowboys, then it becomes a 2-man race between Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. I think whoever gets the better record of those two will end up winning the MVP. Yeah. It has to be Dak Prescott here.
That's wild.
They're 9-3, one of the top offenses in the league. Record-wise, one of the top teams in the league. Granted, you really only dominate really bad teams, but if you want to be considered a top team, you have to beat the bad teams, which they do. They just can't beat the really good teams, which is what a true champion should be able to do.
I mean, you know what's going to happen. He's going to win MVP, and then they're going to lose in the playoffs, and then they're going to be like, well, we had the MVP.
Yeah.
But then Dak fucks up in the divisional round against the 49ers again, and it really does not matter that he won the MVP anyways. And
I don't care.
They're going to ride that out for like the next 10 years if they had an MVP quarterback.
If I'm a fan, I don't care about my quarterback winning the MVP. I want to win Super Bowls. I'm not here for MVPs, DPOYs. I'm here for the trophy that matters the most, and that is.
We should try winning MVP and winning the Super Bowl, Cowboys fans. It's a lot of fun.
But to do that, you have to make it to a Super Bowl,
and you have to draft Patrick Mahomes. Look, he has 3,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, 6 picks right now. And you could say, well, Jalen Hurts has more total touchdowns. I'm sorry. Tush push. That's half of his touchdowns?
They're banning that play next year.
Like,
and that is so
I'm sorry.
dumb.
I'm not counting. Yes, technically, obviously it counts. But that's not like Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry. That's the entire team pushing you into the end zone for 1 yard.
Hey,
Cut all those touchdowns out. Dak has more total touchdowns. He's thrown less interceptions. He actually promised he'd get single-digit interceptions this year. He's on his way to doing that. He only has 6 right now. He has 108 passer
he's
rating.
gonna have a 4 interception game next week. That'd be so funny.
He definitely will. Against the Eagles too. Maybe I jinxed it, but yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is certainly out of it. Lamar Jackson, I think, right now is probably out of it. Maybe. So, yeah, it really is down to that game next week on Sunday Night Football. So
it's going to be a huge game. Another playoff atmosphere. 2 teams battling for the 1 seed. The NFC the race for the NFC 1 seed is wild right now. 4 teams all within a game of one another right now. So
imagine it ran through Detroit. That'd be wild.
That would be my dream scenario.
It's so funny that the Cowboys head to Atlanta right now if the wild card starts. Imagine that. Imagine the Falcons beating the Cowboys in the wild card round. I think I would like the Falcons again.
We have a question from the audience.
What are the 4 best teams in both divisions?
I think the NFC is more clear cut. It's Cowboys, Eagles, Niners, Lions.
It's just top 4 right now.
Chiefs, would I still put them in the top 4 right now? Sure. I'll say Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins, Jags.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I put the Chiefs.
Although it's
I
funny,
put Chiefs 4th right now.
It's funny because I'm still the most nervous to play the Bills. I know that sounds crazy, but the Bills at their best can absolutely beat the Chiefs any point. So they can beat any team.
What week do they play?
Next week.
Oh, that's next week.
Yeah, and actually, I'm literally a hypocrite because I may or may not have the Bills winning that game. But that's not a playoff game. That's not a playoff game.
It doesn't matter. That's a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna win.
Kansas City loses that game.
I don't think. We might not win the division.
Stop it.
There's still a chance.
Stop it.
Yeah. Okay. If let's say the Broncos win next week, they're 7-6. We're 8-5.
Broncos aren't winning.
Never know. We do play the Patriots.
You just said about 10 minutes ago that the Chiefs are still going to win the division.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. That it's a possibility.
After what I saw Russell Wilson do last week, it's not a possibility.
Okay. All right. Well,
that was disgusting.
I can't believe the Chiefs might have the 4th seed. We really screwed it up. We can't keep talking about that. Well, speaking of the Broncos game, they lost 22-17. The Texans are right back in the mix, 7-5. A huge game for both teams. Both are still in it. I still think the Texans are out of the playoffs, or did they pass the Browns? Do we have an AFC playoff picture?
Browns lost. So
yeah, they're both 7-5. I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker, but good on the Texans. It's another one of those games where C.J. Stroud had a bunch of really nice plays, but they didn't put up a ton of points. But their defense really came out on top at the end of the day.
Browns are in right now. Here's the updated playoff picture. So I guess we don't have to talk about this.
The Chargers went up to 12th since the last time we've seen you.
Attaboy, moving up in the ranks.
Yeah, the Texans are 1 out, so that's a little bit tough. I think the Browns play the Jaguars, so that's good for the Texans.
Mathematically, the fact that the Bears and the Giants can still get a wild card spot is wild to me. Even though they're not, just how it's only 2-game difference.
Yeah, that. Oh yeah, Vikings and Packers are in now. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on with the Vikings. Oh yeah, the Jets are not even in the picture.
The Jets are a disaster. They are all the way down
13-8. That's all you guys need to know. That's how they lost. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the game though, other than the Texans defense stepped up once again. Derek Stingley, 2 interceptions. They had the pick in the end zone to end the game. I called it. I was watching Red Zone. I'm like, this just feels like Russell Wilson's about to throw a pick in the end zone to lose the game, and he did that. So
the biggest story has.
And I had the game Texans winning 23-17. It was 22-17. So it was pretty close.
Tank Dell done for the year. That's the biggest story out of this game. Tank Dell done for the year.
Fantasy.
That's going to be a huge hit. Rookies. Everyone was talking about Puka in the beginning of the year for being this offensive rookie of the.
Wait.
One of the.
I'm about to make a really dumb joke. Tank Dell, his season ended. It's like Windows, like when the computer dies. Okay, I'm sorry. My mind works in stupid ways.
But everyone's sitting here talking about the rookie sensation Puka. Then all of a sudden, everyone switches to Tank Dell, and Tank Dell, he breaks his leg in the end zone, done for the year.
It's actually so sad.
It's
so sad. Why were they putting him in on? He was in the middle of the scrum. It was a 1 yard run, and he's like one of those tight ends, like blocking in towards the middle. He's my height. He's my height, 30 pounds less than me, and he's getting put in the mix. And he already had a calf injury going into this game. I mean, D'Amico Ryans, you've been a good coach up to this point, but that was easily the dumbest thing you've done this season. It makes sometimes coaches do things that make no sense, and that one just resulted in quite possibly the worst result you could have had. And honestly, that might screw up their chances at making the playoffs. Big time, and even if they make the playoffs, they're not going to have one of their best weapons.
Granted, you still have I don't know how long Schultz is sidelined for, who's been solid, but you still have Nico Collins.
He went off. He was great.
Almost 200 total receiving yards. It's just a whole thing there now. You lose your best receiver, one of the top receivers this season. So that's going to be a huge hit, and that right there could cost the Texans to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Even though they won this game.
They're gonna need one of those other guys to step up, especially if Schultz is out for a little longer.
Robert Woods needs to step up.
Robert Woods, Noah Brown, John Mechie. You know, you're out all last season, and you finally got healthy this year, and it's your time to step up. So yeah, I mean, look, C.J. Stroud's gonna do C.J. Stroud things, so they're obviously still in the mix. But Tank Dell, man, it's more sad than anything. Easily.
Andrew Beck touchdown next week.
Andrew Beck touchdown. He has a few touchdowns on the season, including that one where he ran it back for like 80 yards. Remember that at Jacksonville in like week 3?
It's my man.
Kick return. Andrew Beck, Henry Pearson, 2 best fullbacks in the NFL. Okay. Xander Horvath as well for the Chargers. All right.
Who was the Bengals guy? Yoshi.
Oh, Andre Yoshivas. We haven't pulled up his picture in a while. Want to do it?
We have Dom.
Okay, we have Dom. We'll get to that game in a second. One other team I want to mention, Chris, is the Colts. I feel like we've mentioned the Colts a couple times this year. I had a few episodes back where I was like, no one gives a shit about the Colts special teams because who does? But I thought it was kind of funny that
2 block punts, back-to-back drives.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe people should start giving a shit. I was freaking out how they had 2 punt returns in their special teams, and now they have 2 block punts. So maybe what I was saying was wrong.
Listen, the Colts, you lose your rookie quarterback who expectations, we've been over this. Expectations, no one knew what to have, but he was making waves around the league. And you have Gardner Minshew. He's a guy who I really like because he could be a starter for a number of teams in the NFL. The Jets, I think the Bears, because Justin Fields is a disaster.
Oh my gosh, the Jets had Gardner Minshew, man. Forget about it.
The Jets had Gardner Minshew. They'd probably be in the
better
playoffs.
Than Aaron Rodgers. No, I'm kidding.
There's a handful of teams Minshew should be starting for right now, and instead he's here on a backup deal, and he's taking the Colts right into the playoffs as we speak. So we got to put some respect on that.
They're 7-5.
They
were 4-11 or they're 4-12-1 last year. I don't think people remember how bad they were.
And it seemed like everything was over with Jonathan Taylor wanting out. Everything was falling apart. There was no future. Well, you draft one of the top quarterbacks in the class, and it's going to be a 3-way race. Right now between Stroud and Richardson, Stroud has the cake on that one. And then Jonathan Taylor re-signs. Jonathan Taylor's out right now, but Zach Moss, who was top rushing leader while he missed time, so you don't have to worry about the running back situation right now. Pittman's doing his thing. Minshew's playing fine.
Phenomenal. He's another one of those guys who very under the radar is having his best season.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you take all that, and I can see Minshew maybe finding himself a starting spot next year somewhere. I don't know if it's a 1-year deal or if he's going to be a free agent. I'm not sure on that whole thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if a team calls up and says, hey, we want to offer you a few draft picks for Gardner Minshew.
He's in the perfect situation. He has Anthony Richardson that he was behind, and then he got hurt. So basically, he took the opportunity to, if they make the playoffs, become a hometown hero. Now all the Colts fans love him, and then he's going to get a new contract for another team, probably have another starting job. So it's like the perfect scenario for a guy like Gardner Minshew, who's like a journeyman backup. So.
And I'm a huge fan of him, always have been ever since he burst onto the scene. I remember that game when he was in Philadelphia. He got that win with him and his dad. That was an emotional win for him.
Yeah.
This is hard not to like the guy. He's just such a down to earth. He's just a good guy. The Colts. What is there not to say? It's one of these amazing stories we've had this year.
They're like the Texans that aren't being talked about enough.
The Texans.
They're having the same season, but
Colts,
no one's talking about them.
The Packers, the Vikings,
Broncos. Other than this week.
I mean, how many great stories from teams that we didn't really know exactly what to take away from? It's blown us out of the water so far. It's been a great season. Now, none of these teams are shooting right to the top of the conference, such as a Bengals team did just a few years ago, but still you have all these teams fighting young talent fighting for playoff spots. So the league's in good hands when it comes to a lot of these future stars.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Colts. I'm trying to think if there's any other storylines before we get to this Niners game. I mean, Tyreek Hill just went crazy again. By the way, this will be the last time I think we'll ever mention this team this year. Shout out the Washington Commanders. Okay. Because I really don't think we'll ever have a chance to talk about them again. How many times have we talked about them? I think they're the most relevant team in the NFL.
You fire your defensive your entire defensive staff, your coordinator and linebacker coach. I think it was just those two. And you think, you know what? Because I have the whole theory of when you fire your head coach, you'll win, or at the very least, you'll put them very tough. Hence, the Panthers-Bucs game, close game, they didn't win.
Yeah, shout out Mike Evans, 10 1,000-yard seasons every single year.
Chuba Hubbard, I think he had almost 25 fantasy points.
I watch his 1-yard touchdowns all the time.
Good for him. But then you think maybe...
Chuba! And Puka Puka! He was good too. We haven't said Puka's name in a while. Chris, want to give one more good Puka?
I'm ready. Let me clear my throat. Puka Puka! So we have all that, and where was I? Oh, yeah. You would think, maybe the Washington Commanders would come out here and play defense a little bit better. Nope. I said they were going to get 52 dropped on their heads, and they got 45 dropped on their heads. Tyreek Hill over 30 fantasy points in the first half, and they didn't need him since. Achane coming back with a 75-yard touchdown run. What else is there need to be said? The Dolphins and beating teams that are sub 500 go together like bread and butter.
Go together like bread and
butter.
Butter and bread.
Didn't even think that was gonna rhyme, but it worked. But you know what?
Okay. Niners, Eagles. Niners win 42-19.
What a
Chiefs
game.
scored 19. Feel pretty bad about the loss. Can't be as bad as this one. The Eagles scoring 19.
Let's talk about. I just really want to say really quick. Sorry to cut you off, but it was on my mind last night. I don't think so. Tyreek Hill, we know he's the most explosive player in the league. I don't think it's a competition. Deebo Samuel's number 2. And I don't think there's an argument for that right now. He takes these...
I can't really think of anyone else right now, to be honest. Easily top 3.
Now, Brock Purdy takes these... He'll give like a 6-yard pass to Deebo Samuel. And he will take it 45 yards to the house. One move, and he's gone. He'll hand it off to them in the backfield. It looks like 2 defenders are on him. He'll split the defenders and take it to the house. He makes these plays that your average NFL player would be, I'm done. I'll get my 5 yards and call it a day. And he could turn any 5-yard play into a 50-yard touchdown.
Chris,
Every time he gets the ball, it could be a touchdown.
I really don't understand. This will be as tragic as the Steelers not winning a Super Bowl with Big Ben, AB, and Le'Veon Bell.
Well, yeah, because the Patriots cheated every time.
Okay, the Cheatriots, yeah. If the Niners don't go out and win a Super Bowl this year, that is such a failure of a season. Like, it's rare to see what you want in an offense is at least one player where you immediately put the ball in their hands and they can take it to the house at any time. Another guy, you want them to get open in space so you could have a big chunk play. They have 2 of each. Christian McCaffrey and Debo get the ball in their hands. They can do anything with it. George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk can get wide open at any time. Doesn't it seem like every single time Brandon Ayuk catches a pass, it's 30 yards down the field wide open? I mean, it's unbelievable. There's a stat. They are 16-0 with Brock Purdy, Trent Williams,
in December.
Debo. I think in general, just with all those players healthy. Every player healthy. They're undefeated.
We got to go back to when we were talking, what's going on with the 49ers? Yeah, well, they lost Trent Williams, best offensive lineman, and Deebo Samuel is out.
And their kicker missed a kick.
You take...
They being first right now.
Any team, and you take away their top offensive lineman, and I'm not even saying their top offensive weapon because the 49ers have 4 guys who are top offensive weapons, but you take away
Kyle Juszczyk too, the best fullback in the NFL. No one talks about that.
Their tight end or wide receiver too. That team's not going to be the same. Missing one of your key offensive weapons and offensive linemen. So I do think there were some overreactions, especially for me, because I was concerned about the 49ers. And then you're looking at it and you're thinking, they lost 2 of their top offensive players. Of course, that they're not going to be the same. You do that. You take that away from any team. Yeah, they're not going to be the same. I don't care who the quarterback is. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Brock Purdy this, Brock Purdy that." Is Brock Purdy the best quarterback in the league? No, but you take any. I don't care how good the quarterback is. You miss a couple of your weapons. Yeah, you're not going to be the same. So, miss me with that BS.
I mean, imagine the Chiefs of the offense. Oh my gosh! Imagine Joe Flacco went out and beat the Niners in the Super Bowl again. He took the Browns in the Super Bowl and beat them 10 years later. That would be the funniest.
Elijah Moore nearly had 100 yards yesterday. He was one.
Joe Flacco's fun to watch. I know they lost, but he's way more fun.
He was airing it out like
there was
no tomorrow.
This year. What?
He was airing it out like there was no tomorrow.
I know. He throws like 50 passes a game. But quickly with the Eagles, I didn't think this game was certainly a toss-up. I guess Vegas was right. The Niners should have been favored. Look, the Eagles are still a very good team. They had definitely just played one of their worst games. It's kind of one of those things where the Niners, they really wanted this so badly, going back to last year at the NFC Championship game. And the Eagles maybe just got a little too cocky and they weren't prepared. And will the Eagles go out and lose to the Niners in the playoffs again? Possibly. Will they beat them? Possibly. So I think the takeaway from this is they just really weren't ready for this Niners team. And, their offensive line didn't play well. Jalen Hurts was running around the entire time. Their secondary is a major problem. It's been all season. And, when you have a secondary like that, if your offense isn't playing perfectly, you're not going to win a lot of football games. And when you play a team as talented and as healthy as the 49ers are right now, that's going to be the end result. So I'm not, shocked at this outcome. But
I guess how spread
Eagles fans got to feel like shit this morning, really.
How wouldn't you? You got your butts kicked. Playoffs last year, we all remember Brock Purdy went down. The backup went down. They had a dude, I don't think, who took an offensive snap. So this is a little bit of revenge in that case. Had the Chiefs lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl and then lost in regular season. This is the same scenario. Eagles beat the 49ers in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl, and then they lose here. So some revenge, and this one is definitely bigger than the Chiefs scenario because that took the Eagles from coasting to the 1 seed to now
bigger than the Chiefs scenario, literally and figuratively.
But
Big Dom, I love Big Dom. I'm just kidding.
The fact
that was so funny.
He put his hand. You don't put as a coach. You don't put your hands on a player.
Is he a coach or a security guard?
He's a security guy.
Okay, he's not a coach though, right?
No.
That's crazy.
Dom's a beast.
And apparently
though.
everyone knows him. I didn't know him until this game, and now I love him.
He's a beast. How do you not? We need to get shirts with his face on it and everything.
He looks like Andy Reid without a mustache. He looks like they're trying to get a guy that still has the presence of Andy Reid in that franchise.
It bothered me seeing him put his hands on. You don't put your hands on a player as a coach.
It's wild.
That was wild. But the whole thing, I honestly, after that happened, I'm like, okay, yeah, the Eagles are winning this game.
Yeah,
because everyone was fired up.
No, it was a big momentum shift because that was the drive that they had this Trey Greenlawn slammed Devonta Smith, which turned into this, and then they scored after.
Especially that he got ejected too. I'm like, oh.
You could tell Hurts was mad too. When he did the tush push, he stepped over the entire team.
Yeah,
it's a celebration. So.
I'm like, okay, yeah, Philly's winning this, but that just wasn't the case. But Sam, huge implications. All
major
single. All single. Yes, Chris. Let's learn how to speak English.
Now the Niners are rooting hard for the Cowboys this week because the Niners can win out, and that's it. They have the 1 seed. It goes through San Francisco.
It's gonna be wild. Buckle up, boys and girls, because we are in for a bumpy ride these next the Magic School Bus. Let's go. We're in for one heck of a ride in both the entire league in general. Who's gonna get the 1 seed? Who's gonna get in? Who's gonna get bumped out? It's gonna come down to that final week of football. We're gonna have so many different scenarios. I can't wait. The push for the number 1 overall draft.
The NFL is giving us many, many gifts for Christmas time.
So. And it was kind of disappointing in the beginning. Oh, the season's not that great, but now we look at it.
I told you weeks ago that a weird kind of disappointing season where quarterbacks aren't playing as well is going to make for a wild playoff run.
Once Thanksgiving comes around,
it's like 2017.
Just everything shifts.
Yeah. It's gonna be one team you don't expect against another team. It's gonna be weird. Speaking of, we got to move on to I can't believe I'm saying this, week 14, Chris. Week 14. We started this. Our first video episode was week 5. This is our ninth episode we've done on camera. That is wild. Next week will be 10. That's how quick the season goes by. I don't understand it.
And then 13, and then 14. Sorry.
That is wild, actually. I can't believe it. It's sad. It's sad because now I'm starting to count down the number of times left we can see Scott Hansen.
I know when the playoffs start, it's like, we still have football, but at the same time,
especially if your team makes it.
I know how much we like to crap on the teams like the Panthers.
No, I'm gonna miss the Panthers so much, man. I'm gonna miss Bryce Young just shorthanding a flat. I want to see that so many more times.
But I know we're not gonna miss teams like that. But it's the fact, like the Octobox, the 1 o'clock window. Fantasy implications. There's just so many storylines. Okay. We're in the peak of the season right now, and we're sitting here talking about it being over. So we need to.
I want to see the Giants kicking a field goal, man. I miss it. I miss it already.
It's more Scott Hansen time, which means more time for us to be happy in life.
Scott Hansen, you got to find a way to work his way into the playoffs. I know he hosts the Super Bowl, but he's got to work his way into some other red zone. Imagine all the playoff games run at once. The wild card, that'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. I want an NBA. Imagine an NBA red zone every single point.
There's NBA. Oh, imagine.
No, imagine.
Okay,
Scott Hansen does it.
That's like NBA fantasy. I don't really understand how that works. But that's a conversation for a different day.
You set your lineup, and it's like that for the entire week.
But there's like multiple games per team per week.
Yeah.
It's like weird. I don't know how that works. Okay, all right. We got to move on. We're short on time. Week 14. Only 2 teams on a bye. This is our final bye week.
Good.
Cardinals,
Good.
Commanders. If I didn't mention that, I'm sure most of you guys wouldn't have even noticed. Let's do the Thursday night football game. Chris, what do you got for Steelers Patriots? What a game!
I said it earlier. I said it again. Steelers aren't going to play down. Well, they're going to play down 2 weeks in a row, but they're not going to lose 2 weeks in a row. Patriots are atrocious. They're coming off a game when they didn't score a single point. Steelers will win 10-6 in a disgusting game. Defense is going to be why they win.
I'm going to give you one more touchdown on that. I'm going to do 18-6. Because why not? Why not?
All right.
Jets Texans. Let's do Texans win this game 17-9 because you got to remember the Jets defense is still pretty good.
Yeah, they have.
And they're missing Tank.
They're pretty good defense. I'm gonna say 20 to. I'll say 20-17. A little bit of a closer game.
Okay. Ravens Rams. A little rematch of the game 2 years ago that Odell had the game-winning touchdown in Baltimore. Why do I remember that? He also punched that guy in the ass. Do you remember that clip?
Yeah.
Where he just ran up and tried to punch the ball, but he punched the guy in the ass. Baltimore's winning this game 34-23.
Yeah, this is going to be a game when, the Rams just always flip-flop. They're going to go just underneath the game 500, so I think the Ravens will win. I'm going to say 28-25.
Okay. Guys, I'm begging you, if it's Fox, if it's CBS, Red Zone, please do not show me this game unless there's a touchdown or it's in the fourth quarter and it's a close game. I really don't need to watch this game. Saints-Panthers.
Serious question here. Is Derek Carr going to play or is he injured?
Serious answer?
Yeah, serious answer.
I don't care.
Okay.
I really don't. I mean, I hope he doesn't because Jameis Winston is way more fun. I mean, you saw immediately when Jameis Winston came into the game yesterday,
chucking it up.
He threw like a 50-yard bomb that was tipped and then caught. It was crazy. I mean, he's way more fun. So I know it's a bad answer to say I don't care, but I really don't because Derek Carr is just – I hate the Saints. I hate the Saints and the Panthers. Although I just said I'm going to miss watching them, they're absolutely just atrocious. So 19-14 Saints.
Oh, this really depends on who's going to start. If Jameis is going to start, I'll give him – I'll do the mean.
Does it really depend?
I'll give them the average of what I think if either one are going to start. I'm going to say 23-20 Saints.
Okay. How's that the mean? That's just your prediction.
Well, no, because I'm going if Jameis is going to start, I would give him more than that.
Really?
If Carr was going to start, I would give him less than that.
All right.
Because Jameis, he's going to throw more interceptions, but he's going to have a lot more yards, a lot more explosive plays. So
all right. Colts Bengals, man. Did the Colts get lucky that Joe Burrow's out? Because now you have a one-way ticket to go 8-5. That's kind of wild. This one's in Cincinnati. I'll give it a one-score game, but at this point, the Colts just have to be the better team. So 23-16 Colts.
Yep, I'm going to go Colts here as well. I'm going to say 26-16.
Bucks Falcons. Bucks 17, Falcons 16.
Do we even have to watch this game?
No, I'm telling you, don't put on the NFC South unless it's literally the final play of the game to decide who's winning the division. I don't care.
So some weird stuff is going to happen. I could see a safety happening this game, just like it happened with the Jets game. I could see an only field goals the first half. It's going to be weird. It's going to be sloppy. It's literally going to come down to the final 2 minutes are going to decide this game.
I'm calling my shot right now. You know Chris Godwin's getting a 7-yard touchdown on a slant route. That's the most Chris Godwin touchdown of all time. Every Chris Godwin touchdown is a slant where he's falling sideways onto his knees.
Yep.
Every single one. And every Tyler Lockett touchdown is an over-the-shoulder toe tap in the back corner of the end zone.
And everyone goes crazy. Oh, yeah. Tyler Lockett!
It's the same. These are the same players that do the same shit. What was your score?
I didn't even pick a score. Rashad White, 1-yard touchdown. He's going to catch a screen pass.
Yeah, well, definitely 1 yard.
He's going to catch a screen pass for 50 yards as well to set up that 1-yard touchdown.
And Bijan will have the 1 touchdown for the Falcons. Yeah.
Receiving or rushing?
Let's go receiving this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I'm gonna say Bucks are gonna win. I'm gonna say 18, Falcons 14.
Okay, Browns, Jaguars. If this was most of the 2010s, this would be one of the worst matchups of all time, but it's actually pretty good. I'm going to pick a upset here. I think Joe Flacco at home in Cleveland. I think they're going to beat the Jags by multiple scores.
All right.
Believe it or not, I think it's going to be one of those weird games in Cleveland where the Jags just come out short, and it's going to be 27-11 Browns. We'll see if I'm right.
I'm gonna go Jags.
I sounded like a really cheesy YouTuber there. Like
I'm gonna go 29-23 Jaguars.
Okay. Speaking of 29, I got the Lions beating the Bears 29-21.
All right, I'm gonna go Lions 31, Bears 13.
Wow, you just said 31-13?
Yeah.
Because I have the 49ers beating the Seahawks 31-13. Isn't that crazy? Sorry.
This is a game where the Seahawks, it's do or die for Seattle here. Backs against the walls, they lose here, probably out of the playoffs. I'm gonna do it, Sam. I'm gonna do it because I'm feeling a little crazy right now.
Oh, you are?
I'm gonna go Seahawks.
After they just destroyed the Eagles.
I'm gonna
go ahead.
I'm gonna go Seahawks upset 25-22.
Go ahead. We haven't tallied our total scores in a while. I'm 10-2. I'll gladly have you take that because I'm just gonna win this whole thing this year. I just know it. Raiders, Vikings. This one's kind of weird. There's definitely gonna be a pick six at some point. I don't know. Vikings. You need this one so badly. There's no way they give you the win, even though you could definitely lose. There's no way
they play worse than they did last Thursday.
I hope the Vikings win. I'm rooting for the Vikings. I'm gonna go 20-17.
Vikings here. I'm gonna say 17-10.
Okay. Broncos, Chargers. I'm gonna have the Broncos sneak this one out, 21-17.
Yeah, Broncos are gonna win, 13-9.
Chiefs, Bills. This one. If the Chiefs would have won last night, I would have said this one's way bigger for the Bills than is the Chiefs. It's still bigger for the Bills, but the Chiefs. This is really, really important. And I'm gonna be such a hypocrite from the beginning of the show, telling you you're not a real fan for not picking the Steelers. So what does that make me for about to pick the Bills? To be fair, though, it's the first time I'm picking the Chiefs to lose all season. So technically, if I had the record, I would have them going 16-1 from all my predictions. So that's still pretty biased. Yeah, the Bills just always beat us in the regular season, and they're just going to want it more. And I just don't see enough from our offense right now to really keep up if Josh Allen's going to have a good day. I'm sorry. I would love us to win this game. I really need us to win this game, but I'm going to have the Bills winning it 20-17. Unfortunately. Hopefully I'm wrong.
One of these big teams no one expected to miss are going to miss the playoffs, and that team's going to be the Bills. The Bills are going to drop this game here. They're going to go under 500, 6-7.
Wow.
Chiefs going to have a massive bounce-back win, keep that one-seed hope alive. They'll win this 24. It's going to be a close one, 24-23. Once again, I happen to have it Chiefs winning a 1-point game in my prediction.
Okay, Sunday Night Football. Cowboys, Eagles. We already explained how big this game is. Let's go a little bit quicker. I think Philly pulls it out. Unfortunately for Cowboys fans, 30-26.
Philly's going to win here. It's going to be high scoring because, as we know, the Eagles can be very nice to opposing teams and letting a lot of points up when it comes to wide receivers. So I'm going to say Eagles are going to win 37, Cowboys 35.
Okay. Speaking of yawning, we got Giants, Packers. Packers win 24-10.
Yeah, Packers win 27-6.
And Dolphins, Titans. I'm going to go out and predict it right now. Titans are going white top, powder blue pants, and the Dolphins are finally going to wear their throwback aqua. And that's going to be one of the best uniform matchups.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say Tyreek Hill's going to have 2 touchdowns.
You know, the Dolphins have still not worn their aqua jerseys yet this year. They've only worn white jerseys. I know. It's crazy, Al. I know.
Tell me more, Sam.
I know. It's crazy. Okay. Dolphins 31-17.
Yeah, Dolphins 34. Titans. I can't believe I'm thinking this much. Titans 13. we just have to quickly shout out. First game in December, Derrick Henry 2 touchdowns. December's upon us. He got hurt with a concussion. He could miss. Who knows? But if Derrick Henry's back, December's back in full force. Derrick Henry touchdown this week.
December. I don't care. All right. Thank you guys for watching. No, I'm sorry. That was mean. You get excited about December.
I get more excited about January.
Yeah, January.
and you know what's gonna happen too.
I get excited for January. I really have lost my mind this episode. I wasted all my energy at the beginning. It's been a roller coaster. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I have literally no voice left. I'm struggling. What?
Oh yeah, GTA 6.
Thank you, Alex.
I was gonna say go eat like a snack or something.
All right, let's talk about Auto Theft Grand. Number 6.
Trailer drops.
Numero 6.
Episode's gonna drop tomorrow. Trailer's gonna drop tomorrow.
Episode?
This episode's gonna drop tomorrow.
Oh, sorry.
So
The trailer drops tomorrow. It's been over 10 years. I pre-ordered GTA 5 back in 2013. I was at my friend's house. I got a call from my dad. And the second he said it was at the house, I put on my slides that I was wearing, and I sprinted back to my house to play it for the next 24 hours. So it's going to be no different this time. It's crazy. I was 12 the last time GTA came out. Now I'm 22. It's crazy how long it takes. But it's finally here. We made it. Congrats, boys.
long awaited.
We just gotta live one more day, and then we see the GTA 6 trailer. That's a big accomplishment.
It's probably not. When's it gonna drop? Next year?
Probably. My guess is summer 2024.
That'd be crazy. I would not be surprised.
Maybe fall.
I would.
2024.
Could you imagine if you're like, oh, winter 2025? I would cry.
Yeah, that's okay too, as long as they keep leaking stuff like the entire year. It's all right.
It's a core part of all of our childhoods right here. Yeah, GTA. After school, hopping on.
I heard the map is gonna be like 3 times as big. Female character as well. Did they say that? You could play as a female character.
It's gonna be massive.
Gross. Who wants to play as a female character? What the fuck? I only play as man.
It's gonna be fun though. I'm excited.
No, that's a bad idea to turn the female character.
For online is gonna be a blast.
A lot of fucking weirdos on that game.
GTA 5. I'm saying they didn't even have to release 6 anytime soon because 5 is still alive and well. I know it's been.
Oh, they didn't have to. They're still raking in millions of dollars.
So there was no. It wasn't like the game was seeing a dry period or anything. It was alive and well, full lobbies left and right.
Do you think they put Mahomes in it at some point? You can make Mahomes. Oh, that'd be so much fun. That'd be so much fun.
There's be a battle pass in GTA.
Is that what does that even mean? What does that even mean?
I don't know, but every game.
That's true.
Pass.
I spent so much time on GTA 5. The fact that
my number one wish is it's super random, but I hope they have more interiors, like buildings you can go inside.
Yeah, no.
I feel like there wasn't enough of that.
That's not random.
I mean, yeah, right?
Because it was the clothing stores.
Everyone cares about like the cars and the guns. I don't really care about that stuff that much. I like the map, the characters, and like the story and like what you can do.
More interactions with other buildings. Like
I drove a minivan. That was my number one favorite car. I decked out a minivan to drive around.
If it's like Red Dead 2 but in GTA 6, it would be crazy.
The Kuruma, the
as long as it's not like Watch Dogs. That was really disappointing.
Okay, Watch Dogs?
That was really disappointing.
I loved that story, but there was no online. Online was you hop in with a friend, you try to hack each other, and then you go back to single player. Like, what was the fun with that?
Have you ever played Driver San Francisco? Yeah. That was like the dumbest game ever. It was fun, but like, it was so dumb. Remember you tried to like hit the people, but like it was PG-13, so the people just go... Like, you tried to hit them in the car, you couldn't hit them.
This might be a bit of a hot take, but if Watch Dogs had a similar... online to GTA, I think it would have competed with GTA for an all-time classic game. I don't think it would have been better than GTA, but I think it would have been close.
All right, we'll end with that because that is a hot take. Also, I'm a big Saints Row fan. I thought that game was also almost as good as GTA. But thank you guys for listening. Hope you also all make it to the trailer because I'm fucking excited. 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you guys for listening and watching. _in the huddle _ on TikTok, @in the huddle pod on YouTube, @in the huddle podcast on Instagram. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Otten, baby.
Let's go, Keith.